Hello, and a very warm welcome to Luck School. This is the start of a 31-day challenge to explore the art and science of luck. It turns out that luck isn't completely random. In fact, it's only random for truly random situations like lotteries and stuff. But when it comes to many of the things in our daily lives, luck is actually a skill. And it's been researched by a professor called Professor Richard Wiseman and his colleagues. He's written some books on luck. And so, what we're going to be doing every day for the next 31 days is exploring the art and also the science of luck, how to be luckier, exploring how lucky you are, and why exploring luck is a really important thing. And also the link between luck and mindfulness, because the research found that when you become more aware, more mindful, when you practice things like yoga and meditation and you slow down, you start to tune into your intuition. And they've found that when you do that, you end up making luckier decisions. So as I said, we're going to be exploring luck, and I'll begin with a little story about what I consider one of my luckiest moments in my life. So I would say it was probably, I was in America, I was in New York. My brother was working there in New York and I was going to visit him. And I happened to be holding in my hand a book, CBT for Dummies. Now, I was interested in CBT, cognitive behavior therapy. So I got this book and I read a few books on this therapy, but they were all very confusing. So I thought I need something easy to understand. And I'd never read any of these dummies books before, but I thought, let's just give it a try. And I found it a really good book. It was written by a doctor and she knew her stuff really well. And finally, I had much more clarity about what the CBT stuff was. So I was reading this book. And I was like, wow, this is a really good book. And I was in this apartment and it was a long time ago, maybe 15 years ago. And my brother said, is there a book on mindfulness for dummies? Because you're always talking about this mindfulness stuff. And I thought, there must be. And Amazon did exist at that time. So I opened my phone, looked on Amazon, typed in mindfulness for dummies, and there was no book on it. So I thought, that's strange. I've been teaching this mindfulness stuff. There should be a book on mindfulness because that's a bit confusing for people too. So I went to, this is the action I took. So I went to the website dummies.com, which was or fordummies.com. I clicked on the button which said contact, and I just wrote a 2-sentence email saying, hey, I've been reading this book. I'm a mindfulness teacher. I've been teaching it for a few years. Why isn't there a book on mindfulness for dummies? Almost just asking it as a question. And when I did that, after a few weeks, I got a reply saying, we'd love to meet you. And I see that the email had been forwarded to about 4 or 5 different people, eventually to a group of people and a couple of editors, I think, that were based in Richmond in London, which was really close to where I lived. They weren't far from Richmond anyway. So we met there and they just said, what is mindfulness? They didn't know what mindfulness meditation is. There's 2 books or 3 books on it right now. If you were to write it, what would you write? What would you include? So I was like, oh, okay, let me explain what I would write if I was writing it. And one thing led to another. They asked me to write a chapter. They asked me to write a table of contents. And then one day they said, you got a contract to write this book. And that was really, really lucky that they asked me to do that. And that led to lots of other kind of good fortune following that too. So that was an example of a moment in my life when I got lucky and I got an opportunity to publish a book. And then I wrote others and lots of other good things came from that. But it was just from that moment. If I wasn't reading that book on CBT, then that wouldn't happen. If I didn't happen to be in that apartment in New York, it wouldn't have happened. If I hadn't sent that email, then that luck wouldn't have happened. If the person who read the email didn't happen to be very interested in mindfulness, then that wouldn't have happened. If they didn't happen to be in London, like I happened to be in London, it wouldn't have happened. So it was an example of something that was lucky. And I just took a few small actions, but then there was a lot of luck involved there too. So so that's an example of a moment of good fortune. I'm sure you've all got moments that you could share. But the main thing I want to share with you today is that it turns out that luck isn't completely random. It's a skill. It's a science, and you can learn it. As I said, there's a guy called Professor Richard Wiseman, and this is like a mini version of his full book called The Luck Factor. And so we're going to have a go at going through some of these exercises and challenges and seeing if we can be luckier in our lives. And so the first challenge for today, I'm going to keep it short and simple, is just to reflect on a moment in your life. Could be to do with your work, could be to do with your relationships or your home life, but just think about those moments when you met that right person, or you got that right job, or you achieved something. And how much did luck play in that turning out to be true? And how much was it kind of just totally random? So have a little think about that and have a little reflection today. How lucky are you? What is luck? Is luck really a skill or not? As I say, 10 years of study on luck now by Professor Richard Wiseman, and people don't talk about it enough, I feel. So I want to try and share it a little bit more, and we can do this challenge together for 31 days and see if we can get a little bit luckier, or we can get more lucky breaks happening in our lives. All right, good to see you. Thanks for sharing, JP and Patricia. Patsy, good to see you here too. I wish you all a wonderful day, and I wish you a lucky day, and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye for now.